Okay, so we're right back at it again. LeBron is GOAT. Okay, that's just what it is. LeBron is GOAT. But this is part two. This is the second video I made about it, and I want to talk about weak arguments. Weak arguments against LeBron that I've heard. And I want to let people know, too, before I even start this, that I am actually someone who, I won't argue against Mike, okay? If you want to say that Michael Jordan is GOAT, I'm not going to, I don't need to make that argument against you, because Mike is Mike. Mike is a beast. Mike is a GOAT in his own right. LeBron, to me, if you're asking me who I'm going to take, to start my team in the NBA, I'm a coach or a GM or whatever, I'm an owner. Who am I going to take, LeBron or Mike? I'm going to take LeBron. And I think he is the GOAT. But anybody is very well within their right to think Michael is the GOAT, and that's fine, and I don't even need to argue against you, but I'm just telling you why I think LeBron is a GOAT. Okay, so but this video is strictly about dumb arguments against LeBron. Okay, I just want to kind of put those out there and just let people know why they're dumb. First one I hear, obviously, 6 rings, right? I went like this. I only got 5 fingers. How can that be? Anyway, so 6 rings, right? Well, one, LeBron's still going, first off. Secondly, that's a team game. We're talking about an individual here. Rings are not an individual statistic. Plenty of great players like Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, they have 0 rings. And you got guys like Robert Horry, who's got, 7 rings? So the rings argument is just so flawed just from that there's so many. If you could go by rings equaling better player, then there's a lot of old time Boston Celtics that are above Jordan. It doesn't make sense across the board. So it's not something you can really use. Yeah, I just the rings. So at what point does it stop? So, you have 6 rings, but what about appearing? How come Michael could only go to the championship 6 times? Magic Johnson went, I think, 9 times. Was it 9? Yeah, I think he went 9 times. So how come Michael could only get there 6? And it's just what your team does should not be a barometer of how good you are. It really shouldn't. Now, the thing is, people like Michael, people like LeBron, they're so impactful that they can basically, they can move your team a bunch of spaces just by being on the team. But at the same time, it's like, LeBron never got eliminated in the first round. Michael did. So what does that say about their impact? What does that say about, does that say more? I think that actually shows more about how much impact or lack thereof that you have by, allowing your team to get eliminated in the first round, whereas another guy doesn't. Neither of them are good arguments. So that I wouldn't even bring up either of them. But I'm just saying, there's plenty of those type of scenarios of winning and losing, team winning and losing, to show that LeBron is a much more impactful player. But I wouldn't bring up any of them because it's a team thing, I can say, LeBron won many more first round appearances than Michael did. Or LeBron never lost a first round appearance, Michael did. That shows an impact there. Michael's played in more playoff games, or LeBron's played in more playoff games than Michael. That shows that he's actually able to get to the playoffs more than Mike was. So, but again, those are team things. Those are things that we don't need to bring up. What you bring up is their play. That's what you bring up. You bring up their individual play on the court. That's all you bring up. So, that brings me to another thing. it kind of has to do with team, but I hear Stephen A. bring it up in one of his diatribes, of course, where he says, I don't remember LeBron ever having to go up against the so-and-so Pistons. I never remember LeBron having to go up against the so-and-so Lakers, and talking about all these things that LeBron never did, that Jordan did do. It's the most biased type of argument you can make. It basically screams at you. It tells you. It's making everyone that's listening aware that I am for Michael Jordan. I am for this guy. When you make that kind of an argument, because all you're doing is concentrating on all the things you know about that Michael did, and then just that LeBron didn't do, and then just dismissing everything that Michael didn't do that LeBron did do. That's all you're doing. You're just straight taking one side and going with it. It's a pathetic argument. It's a pathetic argument. Because again, I could easily say, oh, I don't remember Michael ever beating a 73-win basketball team. He never did that. I mean, we can go back and forth. I could say, I don't remember LeBron ever losing in the first round of an NBA playoff. I don't remember LeBron getting swept out of the first round of an NBA playoff. I could say that. The thing is, we didn't even have all the TV and media that we had back in the day for Michael. I mean, it's just funny. It's just funny, these arguments. These arguments are just ridiculous. People don't have the knowledge or the ability or, don't want to take the time to actually go look at the real stats. Okay? That's what's going on. People don't understand. Guys like Stephen A. want to just trust their eyeballs. I mean, come on. You're supposed to... Evaluating a basketball player comes with looking at the stats and looking at the film. You got to do both. If you're not doing both, Stephen A., then you're cheating people when you're giving your takes, because they're wrong sometimes. No one's going to be all the way right if you just look at the game and that's it. Nobody's going to be all the way right. You have to be able to break down film. You have to be able to look at film. You have to also be able to look at statistics. Period. And Stephen A. isn't doing that. Max does it more, but, I've heard even Max, another argument I hate. He can never pass Jordan. That might be the one that makes me the maddest. He can never pass Jordan? Never? Like, you're saying he can't. Like, there's nothing he can do? Okay, I take back what I said in the last one. That's the one where it says, I am a Jordan follower, and no matter what, he is the guy, and I'm taking him no matter what. I'm on his side. That's what that means. Now, even though Max did say that, I do feel like he's someone who can be changed by great play, but I don't know. Because even his statistics, I've heard him talk about the statistics, which I'm not going to really get into, but he said that if you look at the statistics, that Jordans are better. No, they're not. They're not better. If you look at their peaks, they're like even. They're as even to as even can be. So, it's, that's why it's a very hard argument. You look at some Jordan film. I mean, I love the way that LeBron takes off on people. I love the way how he comes with such ferocity. But I was watching some Jordan highlights, man, and the way Jordan just elevated and hung and floated, they're both beautiful things. I mean, Jordan was the best for a reason, and it wasn't close at all. And I watched that whole era, and I loved it. And I mean, there was no doubt Jordan is unbelievable. Like, he win game. Like, he left me speechless after games many times. I was going against him. Like, I was going against him when I was a Miami Heat fan. I was a Tim Hardaway fan, and the last 5 minutes of the game, it's like game's close or Miami be up about 5 or 6, and then they just give it to Mike, for the last 5 minutes, and Mike would just go to work and score every time, or outscore the team for the last 5 minutes and win. And he'd do that over and over again. It's like it was that's the ultimate wild card when you can just turn on the score, the automatic score, and just give it to Mike. So I mean, LeBron makes the great play, but Jordan could make he could make the play that you had to make every time when it needed to happen. So that's why it's an argument, and that's why I won't argue against Mike. And you can't. You have to give Mike his props. You have to give Mike his props. You have to. You cannot dog or try to tear down Mike or try to say, oh, Mike didn't do this or Mike didn't do that. That's another thing. Let me go in a little bit on the other guys now. LeBron people. Now, I know you guys are somewhat new. Some of you are somewhat new. And some of you guys didn't get to see Mike. But trust me, he was as advertised. He was as amazing as LeBron physically. It was so close. The things he would do. It was like comparing Bo Jackson and Barry Sanders. If you've seen the two, it's very similar. Like Barry would be Michael, Bo would be LeBron. You're talking about two guys that are just equally. They get it done differently, and they're just dominant and equally, nasty. So, do not dog Michael. Don't say his defense was overrated. Don't say, oh, there's no way he could have done this. Don't say that it was watered down. Don't say Michael was ridiculous. Okay? Michael could score on anybody. Nobody could stop him. Nobody ever would be able to stop Michael from scoring. And scoring at a very efficient clip. Nobody. It's not like Kobe. It's not like Iverson. It's not like anything you've seen. He has an extra something, his hand, where Kobe was great, Michael's hand was was bigger, so he could do a little bit more. It was just he had he had 10 inches on vertical on Kobe. Okay, his vertical was 10 inches higher than Kobe's was. So just let that compute. It's not the same guy. Much quicker than Kobe. Much quicker, much more explosive than Kobe. Okay. Like Kobe is an amazing player, but don't confuse. It's not the same. And Jordan would shut down anybody. He would steal the ball from anybody. He would take the ball from anybody. He would D up anybody. He's probably not going to D up obviously big dudes in the post or anything like that. But any wing. Okay, so don't underrate Mike when you guys make your push for LeBron. Make your push, but get all those stats you see Jordan get. He got those, and he would have got those. He would have got those stats in this era too. He got those stats, so just keep that in mind. Those are real stats. Those aren't inflated. Those are real. Jordan, not like Tracy McGrady either. Not like D Wade. Another level up. Okay, better than those guys. More something, There was an extra gear, an extra reach. Whatever those guys had, he had an extra gear past what those guys had in his prime. You don't underrate that man. Do not underrate that man. Give him all the props of his numbers, because him and Jordan were LeBron and Jordan. It's right here. It's right here for me. Right here. It's not nothing where LeBron is. Because he's big, bigger, faster, stronger. He is bigger, and he is faster, and he is stronger. But Jordan jumped higher. Okay, so that's just one thing athletically Jordan had on LeBron. So anyway, I'm going off to a tangent, but just remember, LeBron is GOAT.